Hey everybody, welcome to the Green Architects Lounge podcast. I'm your host, Chris Briley.
I'm your host, Phil Kaplan.
Hey Phil.
Good to see you, Chris.
Good to see you. It's great to be back.
I know.
Again.
I'm very excited about what we're going to be talking about today.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know why, because it's one of our favorite phrases. So when a builder comes up to you and he says, houses that breathe, what do you say, Phil?
Don't be an air hole.
Don't be an air hole.
Come on.
Don't be an air hole.
That's right.
We build houses tightly, right?
Build tight, ventilate right.
That's right.
That's the word, yeah.
Yeah, that's Wes Riley.
Wes Riley, yeah.
Said
Learned
that.
a lot from old Wes.
Yeah. So you don't know who he is? You're not an old school
Sure.
pro if you don't know who he is, but or you're not in New England, but whatever.
That's right. I think you're just not New England.
Right.
Anyway, we're psyched. We did a version of Don't Be an Air Hole many moons ago.
Yeah.
Like over 10 years ago.
Well,
it was kind of different.
It was very different.
It was like an intro class that we gave for the NESI, the Northeast Sustainable Energy Association, had us present and do a little seminar.
Yeah.
And we called it Don't Be an Air Hole. And it was kind of our top 15 basic things to make sure you're not.
Our top 10 things.
Right,
but
15 top 10, yes.
But one of them was, of course, don't be an air hole. It was like you gotta have a tight envelope. And so, but then that became the title of the whole podcast. Was
Just because we kind of liked it.
Yeah.
It was a little snarky.
It was, because it's good.
As we are.
And we promised then that we'd make merch with some kind of logo of Don't Be an Air Hole so you can wear that on the job site.
It's coming.
It's coming, I think.
By the time you watch this.
Well, by the time your friends watch this, after you told them to watch it, there'll be merch. And it's coming. It's coming.
It's coming. So anyway, we're excited to talk about air leakage and specifically how to prevent it and why it's so important.
Yeah.
But first,
yes, the cocktail.
let's talk about cocktail.
Cocktail.
All right, today, look at this beautiful thing that Chris made on the wall.
Someone took some time for some arts and crafts. Yeah, you're going to be seeing a lot of the old lounge placard and what we're doing per episode. But this.
So first, we're going to tell you about this drink, and then Chris is going to tell you a little story about this drink.
About why we're doing this. But this is sort of a black Manhattan, but we've added different bitters and stuff, so we're calling it a dark Manhattan. Cheers.
Cheers.
Yes.
Very easy drink. And it's a really simple way to vary your Manhattan and make it a little more interesting, and I think better.
I think better.
Yeah. So one of the simplest, most basic drinks in the world is a Manhattan. So it's 2 parts to 1 part bourbon or rye to sweet vermouth.
Yeah.
So in this case, we're using a Rittenhouse rye, very kind of standard, cool bartender, high proof rye.
And do they prefer that because it kind of is not imbued with a lot of like extra flavor? It's sort of like it is rye, and that's
right.
Pretty
Rye
much
is a little
taste.
spicier, not as sweet.
Right.
Made with less corn, I believe.
Okay.
It doesn't quite very sugary.
Okay.
And this is a higher proof. So
Oh yeah, I'm already. And this is a tall pour.
you're halfway to being
This
an
is
air
like,
hole.
yeah, I know. Buckle up, people.
So 2 parts of that, and 1 part your favorite Amaro that's kind of got an equal sweetness to this. Some people use a Verna, some people use a Marnonino. Cynar is really great and probably your number 1 in my book because everybody's got it. Most bars have it.
Which will
Bars.
make an appearance in my quick story.
Yeah. So 2 parts to 1 part. That's Chris's beautiful diagram.
So 2 parts rye, 1 part's Cynar.
And then a little orange bitters, just a dash of that. This is Regan's orange bitters. And then a standard Angostura or whatever bitters you like. This is their cocoa bitters, just to kind of be wacky.
Yeah, makes a nice difference.
Yeah. And of course, a fine cherry. These are Luxardo cherries.
Right. Very good.
Right.
So here's a story. There's a sort of a Swiss. First, cheers. Cheers, sir. There's a story to this. Phil and I recently went on a trip to Switzerland. Maybe you've heard about it in the promos and stuff. But that trip to Switzerland had a purpose, and that was to go visit the Sega factory. And Sega makes membranes and tapes. And perhaps they are sponsors of this episode by the time we get to it. But anyway, we're in Switzerland. But when we're off hours, not doing the factory tour and stuff, we're in a group.
What did we need to get?
Fondue
Fondue.
and cocktails.
That's right.
So we're in a group. Of course, when you're in a group and you're navigating, a foreign town, your options start to get whittled down to what people can tolerate and do. So we find a fondue place. We're in Zurich, somewhere between Bahnhofstrasse and the Lamont River, in that warren of in the old stuff. And we found the fondue place. You're hit with that hefty scent of cheese, and everyone looks at each other like, "Oh, I'm not sure. Should we do this?"
Should we do this?
And we go in, we do it, and it was great. But we look at and I'm actually sitting next to you for once, which is nice. And we're looking at the menu, and no cocktails, and it's all tons of white wine, a couple of beers. And the waiter comes over, speaking English, of course, because whatever. And Phil sees a bottle of Cynar, and I think it was bourbon.
Yeah, they had a few things. They had like 5 cocktails.
Just like behind the desk, there was like...
They have 5 spirits.
Yeah. I say desk because I think it was more of a desk than a bar.
Yeah.
And so they have a couple of spirits. And so Phil says, well, he said, do you do cocktails? And he's like, no, we don't do that. He's like, well, I see over there that you've got Cynar and bourbon. That's pretty much a black Manhattan.
Yeah.
Do you think you can mix 2 parts of the bourbon and 1 part of the Cynar? And he's like, yeah, we'll see what we can do.
Yeah.
And so, everyone else had fine Swiss white wines. We had
this poor waiter.
We had it was kind of a black Manhattan.
Yeah, it was outstanding.
Yeah. And so that's our Swiss story. We were trying to think of a Swiss version cocktail, and this actually came up, and we're like, oh, we should just do that.
But that's it. But you can always find a good black Manhattan if you look carefully.
Yeah.
Like, they're always there in almost every situation in any bar.
And it's also like you can make it. You've got these ingredients. Once you have these ingredients, and it's like you don't have to even chop a lemon or anything like that. So, we found ourselves talking about whether you shake or stir.
Chris knows the answer to this because he's heard me just pound my fist about it so many times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it has citrus, you shake.
That's right. Otherwise, you stir.
You stir.
Yeah.
Because otherwise...
it's going to get too diluted.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's right. So that's the difference in why you see your bartender people doing
So 007, when he asked for shaken, not stirred,
it's kind of lame.
He wanted a little weaker.
Yeah.
Martini.
Pansy.
That's the truth.
Pansy. All right. You guys have hung in there with us. Let's talk about the subject at hand.
Why do we want to talk about air leakage today?
We're talking about air leakage because bang for the buck, it's probably one of the easiest, most important things you can do for your house to make it more energy efficient, because the average house loses about 25% of its heat through air leakage. And that's by that I mean your windows are shut, your doors are shut. It's as tight as you can make it in the wintertime, and yet you're still, leaking to the outside. Or the average house does, 25%.
And the truth is, when you're building your house or renovating, it's not that hard.
Correct.
It's not that costly. Let's put it that way.
Right.
It's really good bang for the buck.
Yeah.
So when you air seal a house, you have to be vigilant and look in the right spots, but it's not going to cost you big bucks to do it.
By now, it should be good practice. Every builder should be doing it and trying to hit, a good benchmark ACH 50.
That's right. And in fact, codes now require it.
That's right.
Yeah, and we'll talk a little bit more about the code changes right now. But previously, it was an ACH 50, air changes per hour at 50 pascals pressure.
Right. And that
of 7.
Of 7, right.
Which is if you don't know what we're talking about, it's always hard to get your head around.
It's an old farmhouse is what 7 is.
Yeah, 7 is
yeah.
You open up your front door.
I think if you add it up, it is like an open window or like an open door.
Right. And it was to the point where it was in there, but you didn't bother testing it because why waste your time?
Right.
It was a useless metric.
Well, and there was no code requirement for it either.
And nobody had a blower door to even test it, right?
That's right. And now, and we were just talking about this, shouldn't there be a run on blower doors now that they're required with a 2021 code?
That's right.
Every builder should have that as part of one of their tools.
Yeah, you would think so. But, so basically, it's gone down from a 7 to a 3.
Right, and now it's required, and now you're in the zone where, and 3. By the way, I think I should research this before I say too much, but I think 3 is the threshold at which you can get away without an ERV. but you should have an ERV.
Always have an
If you're-
RV anyway.
Yeah, that's also good practice.
Build tight, ventilate right. You're not going to be able to ventilate right without an ERV.
Exactly. And so to quickly dispel the whole buildings have to breathe thing, and I don't remember who I should be crediting for this phrase that no, people have to breathe, houses have to dry. That was probably Joe Steebrook. We'll give it to him.
Sure. Give him one.
Give him another one.
Yeah,
Whatever.
he's got plenty.
And the point there is like this old school of thought, these old buildings that are still standing the test of time, because they stay dry. And that's because they're basically being kiln dried every winter, with, the tons of heat that you're filling your house and it's going through the assembly, drying out everything. And that's why you don't have mold, you don't have mildew, you don't have rot. And those old time builders would be saying, yeah, that's right. That's why we do it. No, what you're doing is you're using your insulation as an air filter at that point that you will never change. That's why that insulation is black. And that is your indoor air environment that you are breathing. We don't do that. And you're just losing energy. So what you're doing, what Chris Briley says, maybe, I think this is mine. We can just, is that a healthy house leaks, an energy efficient house controls how it leaks.
All right,
so we have, with these ERVs, we now temper the incoming air with the exhaust air and retain 80 to 90% of that heat. That's amazing. That was a game changer for the whole passive house movement.
Yeah, and I think an ERV podcast is really good. If we really just break that off and go into great detail. That'd be really fun, don't you think?
Yeah, we've done it before, but we're kind of revamping things. In fact, this first air sealing podcast, it is actually the first one you can listen to back in 2010.
Yeah, how was it? Did you hear it again?
I did not listen to it, but hit it, because 2010, who's been podcasting since 2010? Even Mark Maron's hanging it up. Pansy.
That's right. I think we can outlast it. We have outlasted it.
Well, yeah, but he's like thousands of episodes.
No,
all right, let's move on.
Where are we?
Okay, so
one of the things we talked about is the why. Air leakage, we talked about the energy that goes out your window if you're not careful about it. And one of the things that we talked about in that 2010 podcast is what happens when you open a car window.
Oh, yes.
Right?
I remember that. Yes, we had the whole scenario. Okay, yeah. You open up your window?
That's right. I open my window and you hear the weird blah, 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 and it feels kind of awful in there.
Yeah,
so
I like how you're
in the back seat.
You're cranking. This is an old car. He's in a very old car.
I remember that.
Keep going, Phil. Grandpa,
open the back window.
Yes, there you go.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden,
because that air,
it's flowing from one hole to another hole.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's not so good.
No, you get much better. You get much better. That air flows better. It's cooler now. It's working better.
Yeah, tons of it goes through from one hole to the next hole.
And if you've got leaks all over your house, guess what?
Same thing.
They're all playing the same game.
That's right.
One little leak, not so bad. Fun fact. I'm going to just quick fact nugget. Do you know why 50 pascals? I'm sorry. So blower door tests, they're testing by depressurizing or pressurizing your house to 50 pascals, also 70, 75. I mean,
I knew the answer to this once. Tell me.
It's a 20 mile per hour wind.
There you go.
The pressure of a 20 mile per hour wind is about 50 pascals. And you think 20 mile per hour wind blowing on one side of your house is not that much. Oh, yes, it is. Think of an airplane, Phil, like the wing of a plane. A whole jet is held up because the air is moving faster on the top of the wing than on the bottom. That's it.
Yeah.
Fast air sucks.
So this is also pretty interesting when I found out the hard way from another project where we had a little bit more air leakage before we went back. Times. It was a 4-story project.
Yeah.
Open staircase. Right.
Oh, so you got to.
So if there was a crack on the top floor, and it was the Sonia Brontes who told me this. She's a mechanical engineer who's wonderful, who's been on a past podcast of ours. That it is basically 1/3 of a blower door actively going all the time when you have an air leakage that's 4 stories above where the original hole is.
Oh, wow. So it
amplifies the wind because of the stack effects.
Neat.
Yeah.
I mean, not neat. That's good to know.
Bad in my case.
Bad for you.
Neat theoretically.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Back to it. So
back to it.
So Phil, I feel like we should quickly review the 4 layers.
Okay, you got your weather.
Yes. Thermal,
air,
and
vapor, right?
And the reason
the weather barrier. Go ahead.
No, well, I was going to say the reason why I think it's important to review them is because the air barrier, everyone seems to get these confused. And that's because the air barrier is sneaky. It can be, unlike the others, mostly, it can be also the other things.
That's right.
You can have a vapor barrier that's also an air barrier. You can have a weather-resistant barrier, which often is your air barrier.
Right. It can be your thermal barrier.
Yeah.
If you tape your rigid insulation.
That's right.
It's your air barrier.
That could be your air barrier. You have
Right. It's probably not your weather barrier.
No, like if you had your
like stucco or something like that?
No. It's like saying like your weather barrier. Yes, your outer
right.
Yeah.
Right. So let's just quickly go through these. So the weather barrier is the stuff in the exterior of the building.
Yeah.
Stuff the outside.
Shingles.
Usually your siding. Right. And we usually don't seal that. Usually we'll let some water come behind that and have a rain screen.
That's not our layer.
We're not worried about that.
Right.
But behind that is our
weather-resistant barrier.
Right.
And oftentimes that is your air barrier. And it's good to isolate on your drawings or in whatever fashion to isolate a primary air barrier, because you can have, fun fact, as many air barriers as you want, as many air control layers as you want. But it's good to isolate one as your primary sacrosanct, that's the hello alcohol, sacrosanct membrane that is not to be messed with.
Right.
Yeah.
I would also say it's expensive to have more than one. So
that's true.
Try to keep it to one.
That's true.
So but behind your WRB, then your thermal barrier is your insulation.
Yep.
Right. So that can take many forms, and we won't go into that in detail.
Yeah. That's a podcast. Each one of these is a podcast unto itself. Then your vapor control layer, which is the one that seems to freak people out a lot in terms of getting their head around it. But essentially that's you're controlling the vapor on the inside. Here in our cold climate, vapor on the inside, migrating through the wall and condensing somewhere inside that wall. That's a bad thing because you have water inside your wall assembly. So you want to stop it with a vapor control layer.
It's important, but it's really good to know that the air, controlling the air is the number one most important thing. That'll stop 90%. This has been Bogey's line. 90% of your issues if you deal with your air barrier.
I agree.
You don't have to worry about vapor quite as much.
That's right. If you've got your air barrier all, dialed in and super tight, the importance of the vapor barrier drops considerably because the amount of air moving through the assembly is completely lowered. So thank you.
Those are our 4 layers.
Our 4 layers. So now we're focusing on that air layer. And from this point on, we're going to be talking about that primary air control layer. And that's a fun way to say it. You can say air control layer, vapor control layer, so barriers, because sometimes they're not. We can get into class.
Right. It's not really a barrier.
That's vapor, right? Let's stick to air.
So there's a bunch of ways to do it.
Yeah.
There's a handful of ways to do it, right? So we have our membranes.
Membranes and tapes. It's all membranes and tapes except for
zip.
Zip,
which is in a funny way, it's kind of a membrane applied to a piece of OSB.
Well, let's talk about that for a second, because so like Zip, the Zip wall system, and you guys everyone who's tuned in here has probably worked with it or has seen it. It's the green board with a black Zip tape that seals the panels one to the other, and it's that green surface that is essentially the same as like your Tyvek or whatever that is able to respire, and it's airtight, but allows vapor to move through it. And that was, the Tyvek was like one of the first products to come out to do that, like an eggshell.
Right. And I would say Zip was pretty revolutionary in our industry.
Absolutely.
I think it made a lot more houses airtight that were not in the first place.
Right. Because I think a lot of builders were against, these wraps that, you're stapling them and they're flapping in the wind. And
right. They didn't apply them well at all.
And
it's completely adhered.
Yeah. And then you get a rigid sheathing. You're buying your sheathing and you're just taping the seams with a Zip tape, and you have a really good air barrier.
And it got cheap. Like once that stuff was cheap, then everybody was using it.
Remember when it was cheap, guys?
No. But it was still cheaper than plywood at some point. It turned the corner.
Cheaper than plywood in plus Tyvek.
That's right.
And so it is ubiquitous now. It's everywhere.
Everybody sees the green,
and it's great. And we've spec'd tons of the stuff. You have as well.
We still do. Yeah. Is it the greenest way to do it?
Maybe not.
Maybe not. It's certainly the most affordable way we found out. Like we use it on a lot of multifamily affordable housing. It's kind of
right. And a lot of builders, like there are issues with it where, you know, if you have overdriven nails, if the tape wasn't pushed on, you know, applied the way it is supposed to, when it fails where at the top. And so it starts peeling, and then as water goes, it gets bucked into the seam.
That's right. Chris and I took a really wonderful tape application class when we were in Switzerland.
Yeah.
And basically for architects, it was so important. I recommend to everybody,
yeah,
there's an opportunity to do it, to have somebody walk you through. And you and I have drawn these countless times, and we've probably done a little bit of taping ourselves. But it's to stand next to a pro and have them say, look at that little, you see that little ripple right there?
Yeah, or
that's going to be a problem. This one's not a problem.
Right.
That one is. Oh, I didn't realize that.
Right. Look at that wrinkle you just put in there.
Yeah.
That's going to be a problem later.
Yeah.
And if you had to put trim over that little mess that you just made, that's why are you doing that?
Mm-hmm.
Or just you need help with that? You want me to go faster? We can get this done a lot faster if you let me do it. It's like, hey, I got this. You know, so it's, you know, there's a lot of respect. I have a lot of respect for the guys who can really go in there and just zip zop, get those, you know, create.
Oh yeah, I was
really
working with a couple builders showing me how to do it way faster than me.
You're with a good crew.
Yeah.
And they were all experimenting on different ways to do it because they had free tape to just go at it. But anyway, where were we? So membranes.
Zip, right, and then there's membranes. There's things that we can. A lot of people are using the blue skin.
Yeah, blue skin. We've been using a lot of the Siga and so have you, which is why we ended up on the trip. But and Proclima, you know, the Mento type products.
And then there's spray-ons and roll-ons.
And roll-ons.
Right, like a Prosico.
Yeah. I haven't used a lot. Have you done that?
No, but I was just watching some videos in preparation for this.
Oh, all right. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of...
pretty good. So one of the things that was interesting about this, which makes sense, is that you don't have to worry about any sort of lapping. You always worried about what the movement of water. You trace a raindrop and you see, or any water that comes through, and you want to make sure that you have a positive lap. So it falls down to the bottom and it goes away and leaves your house alone. When you spray it on, when you roll it on, you really don't have to worry about that. It's like one connected solid membrane.
Yeah.
Even when you tape things on, you still can't do, you probably can.
Yeah.
But you try to avoid doing it.
Man, it almost feels like, you know how spray foam is a thing where it's like, well, some builders really love it because somebody else comes in and takes care of that. And then they come back and do the thing. It's like you could frame up a whole wall and somebody else would come in and air seal the outside. And then I don't know. I haven't used it, but I don't know. Maybe test it out.
I think it's not bad, and I bet we will see more of it in the future because I think as we see the codes kind of amp up, it needs to be a little bit dummy proof. I mean, I hope nobody takes that the wrong way, but the reality is that you want to make it as simple as possible. Just like coat the whole thing, make sure you see orange everywhere. Everywhere you don't see orange, you're going to have an air leak.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I can do that. I don't have to worry about rubbing my tapes on very carefully, even though they have some applications too with different colors. But like it simplifies it, like a couple other products we'll talk about afterwards.
And I think the things that you can look into are like the permeability of your air barriers. Like different air barriers have different permeability, and the more permeable it is, the more vapor it lets through.
That's right.
That could be important. When we cover vapor, we'll hit that more. But that's a factor in your selection. Durability is a factor in your selection, and also the self-adhere portion. Like the blue skin you mentioned, like the the Siga stuff,
and stick stuff
is getting very popular to do that. Just because when that's on and it's tight and everything, it's great.
It's not the cheapest, but again, it's an indicator. You can see your entire volume completely covered with this blue skin, and you immediately feel good. Like, all right, let's go. I know we're in good shape here.
And the product itself needs no fasteners, so it's really just what goes through your other layers.
So let me ask you this. So you used to do a bunch of airtight drywall. Remember when we talked about airtight drywall?
Yeah, like if you went...
That was our air barrier.
I swear, if you would go back to that 2010...
And it still is, right?
Oh yeah, it's still a legit thing. But with the advent of all these tapes and sealants that we have, I mean, these tapes are really impressive. They're really impressive at their longevity and their ability to adhere to other substrates and things, which we didn't have back in the early aughts.
We did, but one of the big things is that we had to detail things differently.
Yeah.
You had to slide your drywall behind your interior walls.
And you had to gasket your
electrical crazy. Stuff. Again, like the less we have to think, the more we're going to be able to get better energy efficient buildings everywhere.
Right. But that's, if your sheathing plane is your primary air barrier, and you've got that thing dialed in, and you can do a blower door test. Oh, how many blower door tests do you do, Phil?
We do 3. We specify
three.
3. Yeah. Do they always happen? It depends on the builder. If it's a builder that we've worked with before, we usually do 2.
We do 2.
Yeah.
Where's your I'll say where we do our 2, and then you tell me where your little extra third is. So we like to do it when the shell is complete prior to insulation, if that's how it's all being done. And note that you can't do that with spray foam. So that's another argument against spray foam. It's like you can do your air tightness, your windows are in, they're all taped and sealed, your membrane's on the outside, and everything's taped and sealed. That's as good as you're ever gonna get. Because after that, you're gonna start putting penetrations and other things. Maybe you'll get better if everyone's good with
and that's why we certain another one before sheetrock, right? Because the penetrations are in.
But at that shell test, you have full access to every leak that there is that you find.
Right.
So that one's way more important than the final one. So
the final ones now there is a product that you can do stuff with.
Yeah, let's save that to the end. Let's save that to the end. But you know what I'm talking about.
Right.
So if you're hitting your numbers at the shell test, it's go time, and you can keep going, and it's really great. Hey everybody, this is Chris and Phil with the Green Architects Lounge podcast.
We'd love for you guys to take just the next few minutes and listen to one of our sponsors. These are folks that we really care about, we dig, we like their product.
Yeah, we specify them, we use them ourselves, and we don't just let anyone sponsor the Green Architects Lounge. These guys have their shoulders up against the status quo, shoving it in the direction of sustainability and high performance.
And most importantly, they help pay for our drinks. Listen up.
Hi, BS and Beer friends, family. I'm Ben Bogey here, and I'm with TJ from Huber.
How's it going? TJ here. We're on the brand team with the Zip System Building Enclosures.
So as many of you all know, we've decided to start taking sponsorships for BS and Beer to help us get this grassroots movement out to everybody. And we've decided to be selective about who we partner with. We want to partner with brands that we actually believe in, that help us do better work across the industry. And a natural fit for that was Huber.
Yeah, at Huber, we're always trying to push the boundaries with the building enclosure, whether it be through durability, energy efficiency, or just staying ahead of the codes in general. So we do that by listening to builders like yourself and taking feedback from all the builders out there.
So I've been working with Huber for a number of years now, and one of the things that I think is important to know about them that they don't trumpet is that they are a triple bottom lines company. So Huber, the parent organization, is people, planet, and profit, right? And so they're not just driving for shareholder value here, they're driving for better community, better employee relationships, better products, helping us all do better with the work that we do on a daily basis. And that's something I've really grown to appreciate from you guys.
Well, we appreciate it, man. You're the reason why we're continuing to push the boundaries of the building enclosure entire system, and we're going to look to continue to keep doing that. And if you have any influential feedback that you'd like to support us with, feel free to join our Insights Council.
With that, I want to say thank you to Huber for sponsoring. It's really helps us to get this information out and to know that we have brand partners that support education and support just pushing the industry forward to help make better choices is really a great thing to have.
All right. Thank you for continuing to build better. See ya.
And one of the things that has really transformed, almost like our relationship with builders is that with this energy efficiency is that this, it used to be the point where we used to say, all right, we want to hit passive house 0.6 ACH 50. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And, initially builders were like, firstly, what is that?
Yeah.
And secondly, how the hell are we going to do that?
Right.
And thirdly, who do you think you are?
Right.
But now the relationship was like, oh yeah, that's a good challenge. Let's go. We have tools.
Yeah.
This is up to me. Let me show off. I'll kick that number's ass.
Right. Like
Yeah.
every builder, like remember back in the day, the builders who had done that, how freaking proud were they?
Yeah.
You know,
Oh yeah.
Like, oh yeah. And they're like talking, I mean, when we were in the building science discussion group or whatever, they're talking about, oh yeah, I hit 0.25.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I did that last
Point
year.
2, 3.
Yeah. And so it becomes this,
Yeah, bragging
bragging
rights.
rights.
Yeah.
Good kind of bragging rights. That's really great.
Yeah. It's transformed the industry. Just kind of the knowledge of air leakage and some of these numbers and getting smart about them.
So I want to talk about tapes for a second. You're ready for tapes.
Please.
So it's all tapes these days, guys. Like each company, our firm uses a lot of Sega, but sometimes we run into, so it's like our primary spec, but there's so many tapes out there. There's the Brooklyn brands, 3M's got stuff, Zip itself has its own suite. And so it helps to know what these tapes are. Each one of them, there's like different tapes for different purposes.
Right. So Chris does a brilliant thing in his specifications.
Well, thank you. Yeah. So
Yeah, this is cool. We don't do this, but this is great. And we mix up our tapes.
Yeah.
But we say we're equal and to be approved. But what you do is really cool.
So what we do, we specify SIGA, and we say this. We talk about the application, how you're using it, like window exterior. It's like the SIGA Y glove, V glove,
V glove.
but if it's the sill pan, it's the reason, and the reason for that. I didn't even know the reason.
The raison.
The raison
is spelled.
Le raison.
Pronounced reason.
I don't know. Okay. But it is pronounced chinar, people. Not
it is
not sinar. Not sinar. This is chinar, which is
very important.
Very important. You're not.
Don't be an air hole at the bar.
Yeah, you don't want that because it's based off of artichoke. The scientific name of artichoke is chinar.
Let's go back to tapes.
Right.
You were doing fine.
Damn. Sorry. You hanging in there, people? You with me? All right. Okay. Sorry. So like the reason tape is vapor impermeable. Perfect for a sill. Because water could sit there for days and you're fine. Y glove is vapor permeable. Not very permeable, but it is perfect for an exterior window frame that may, if some water gets in there, it can get out. It can respire out. And so and others are good for interior because they're vapor impermeable, or others are really good because they stick to concrete and they stick to the fen trim, for example. So,
and I will say, like, my opinion of the sort of the vapor permeable tapes is like, show me where it fails.
Yeah,
are we really? How far do we need to go?
It's worth an eye roll. I think, honestly. I think that the vapor permeability thing is a byproduct of the flexibility of the tape. Like they were working on trying to get a high, adhesion, but maximum, flexibility. And so,
because of the flexibility, it made it more permeable.
That's my own personal theory.
I don't think there are any accidents with the Swiss.
Well, that's what I think that's true. So, but I agree. Like the permeability is not as important. However, actually, I want to talk about taping I want to talk about taping.
Serious.
Well, I have a personal thing. So there's John Straub talking about good details. John Straub's a cool guy. We actually interviewed him, and he's
building science
building science guru. He's the John Straub
professor.
He's the Joe Stiebrick of Canada.
Yeah, even funnier.
Yeah, good. Great guy. We're big fans. And he kind of knew me enough that like after he did a whole lecture on the proper way to install windows, I do the raise in the hand. And I'm like, well, with vapor permeable tapes, can't you now tape seal the bottom and you don't have to leave it open anymore?
Yeah,
and he's like, and so he just like picks on me. He's like, haven't you listened to a single thing I've said this whole session and all this jazz? So he was still at that time, and maybe he still is, a believer of leaving things open at the sill. And I tell you what we've been doing, and I got this idea from Steve Constantino. Tape it. Go ahead and tape it. And if you're worried about moisture, just put a couple weep holes in that tape. Just go ahead. Just poke 2 holes and then shove something, some insulation or something in there, just something.
Because it's much harder to air seal around the back of that thing.
Yeah, I mean,
Saccharide, caulk, sides, all those things.
Yeah.
That's a bigger chance of
right,
messing things.
because then you're counting on the interior being your primary air
That's
barrier at that one
right.
location.
That's right.
And then you got to tie it all back to the others.
Yeah.
So, which is,
And I will say that there's some corroboration with this because, I mean, what John says, but a lot of people say, we've done a lot of work in the modular industry.
yeah.
And they won't allow it. They're like, you tape the bottom seam because we see callbacks. Everybody trying to do your fancy thing.
Yeah.
Let water come in and let it come out through the sill pan. That's where we get callbacks, buddy.
Yeah.
So I know what you're saying, but don't do it.
Right.
They want us to tape.
Well, maybe this is a good
Fight.
transition to talk about transitions.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
Right. So it's really easy in a solid wall.
Sure. Fields are easy.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the corners.
It's all
the joints. It's where the materials come together where you have to be careful.
Yeah.
So that's where you have your tapes, your caulks.
So where our classic top of foundation wall meets the top or the bottom of their framed wall, we lap the sheathing a little bit, or even if the sheathing is flush with it, we use Fendrim tape or insert your favorite tape product, but a tape that can go on that concrete appropriately. And how easy is that? Along the bottom, we just sealed the whole bottom perimeter with this one tape.
Right. You can't really have the concrete exposed for some reason if you're insulating the inside from there on down.
Yeah.
Right. Because you see that ugly piece of tape.
Yeah.
You got to cover that up.
Well, a lot of times it's low, and the siding will actually cover up even that.
Right.
You have to kind of bend down to even see it.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to make a case for one of the things that we use the Zip liquid flash.
Yeah.
And we use it more with affordable housing. It's not.
No,
it's not better by any means. But basically, what it is, it's like you apply it in like a tube, like this sausage tube where they squeeze it on, and you basically take a squeegee and you smooth it out.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons to use it is it's proprietary and it goes with the Zip system.
Right.
So if you use Fentrim with Zip, then Zip won't cover it.
Right.
So
This is true.
don't do that.
Right.
And it's a great system, and you just have to put something on the concrete beforehand, like duct tape or painter's tape, goop the stuff on, peel it off, and you've got that clean. You get a clean line.
Gotcha. No, that's good.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Other tricky spots. Well, we started talking about windows, and maybe we'll show a little segment from our Sega install or whatever.
Oh yeah. I did a little. Chris did a little demo.
Yeah.
With Ken Kiefer from Sega.
Yeah.
Great.
He's a great guy.
Smart
Shout
dude.
out to Ken. Really, he treated us right and gave us a good education on tapes and sealants and stuff. But I really appreciate how getting that membrane adhered firmly to that frame and taping all the way around and then taping that to your window.
I love how you're using your face as
I'm
the window.
I'm voguing.
That's great. I'm
Yeah.
going to
All right.
squeegee it down.
So windows.
Other tough joints.
The
ceiling, where the top plate meets the roof
yeah.
rafters.
that one
Or the
is
ceiling.
it's very tricky.
It's always tricky.
And that's basically, it's a lot of times you cover the top of your wall with like a piece of your WRB, your membrane, and so that you can span the outside and tie it to the ceiling plane on the interior, so you can have that air seal continuous. Basically, you have to do the pencil test. We've talked about this before, or you can draw a line on your drawings of that air
pencil.
Yeah, and if you have to pick up your pencil and do that, it's not continuous. You have to be able to, and you can't cheat and be like, just go through this transition. No, what just happened there? What was taped? What caulks are still a thing. Caulks and sealants like that. You can still goop your plates, so that they seal.
But one of the tricky things is when your air barrier is in the underside of your structure.
Right.
And you're insulating above and you've got a vented
Right.
roof.
Yeah.
So you have to figure out how you get your air barrier from the outside
To the inside. Yeah.
Right. So when it's easy to draw that line, but it's hard to actually do it. From the taping from this to then the underside.
Right.
Like those two things don't work. Yeah. You got to figure it out.
And if you're doing like a cathedral ceiling, sometimes it's really awesome if you're sheathing, if you're using your sheathing as your primary air barrier, if your wall sheathing and your roof sheathing come together, and that's just this nice tape thing.
And then you see your blue skin just, and then everybody's happy.
And then you can fasten on your eave extensions, and then that's your ventilation on top of that. Man, you're a cool person.
One thing we didn't talk about specifically, so if you allow me to just jump back a little bit. So when we're air sealing underneath the slab, and basically the slab itself is an air barrier, but we've got our stego wrap that comes up underneath the slab and wraps over top of the plate. We, for years, and we're still doing this, telling people to leave our 15 mil poly or whatever you use, leave it proud and leave it like hanging in the wind till it's time for you to put the exterior sheathing on and lift up that stego, and then you tape at that point.
Absolutely.
But what happens, Chris, when that stego is like left out for months?
Gets dirty, gets ripped.
Yeah, not so clean.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, watch out for that at that point. Like if you're looking around and it's about that time, you're going to see somebody's going to come and I guarantee you, cut that off. They're going to
very well-intentioned person.
Hang up. Yeah. Let's clean that up.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, no. Somebody's going to say, stop.
Yeah.
Well, we'll figure that out after the fact.
Yeah. And also, stego wrap, because you mentioned stego, whichever, chinar.
Chinar. Let's call the whole thing off.
Is very smooth. Not all tapes stick to it. So.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, you just want to make sure you've got a good tape that goes with
in the right weather. We found if it's too cold.
Yep.
Sometimes
so
tapes don't stick.
Know your tapes. Get to know your tapes. Know what they're used for. Know how they're supposed to go on. You're going to be a much more effective architect, and you're going to look much smarter in the field, because I'll tell you what, most of the time the builders are looking to you to tell them which tape to use where, and even how to do it in certain applications. And so that's an architect ready to step into the means and methods world, and with a little bit of confidence.
That's right.
And so you're going to be a cool architect if you can do that. So
all of this makes you a cooler architect. It's really true. I mean, it's super empowering to know this stuff and go on a job site.
Yeah.
It feels really good when you're the friend of the builder and you're knowledgeable.
Yeah.
And you help make things better.
Yeah.
It really does.
But don't go in there all ego driven, like, oh, I just read a book, I got this thing.
Because they're going to make you look stupid on something. So keep
I guarantee.
Yeah.
We've got stories.
He goes and check friends. What other penetration? I mean, that's the thing, right?
Yeah, there's other
air leakage. There's a lot of stuff that we poke holes in this building. There's vents that pop through. There's bond outs for utilities.
Yeah, and once you have that primary air, so like I was on a job site, one of my first passive house. Shout out to Roger Norman, who was my client, who also was the biggest ass on site, and that is as air sealing specialist. He came up with this. So he had a T-shirt that just said "ass" and air sealing specialist on it, and he was that I'm putting in air quotes annoying client on because he was on site all the time. We wanted to watch his house being built. He's retired. This is his job now. So in a way, it's terrifying, worst client, and in a way, awesome, best client, because he was so knowledgeable and such a good student, and I found him to be quite personable and great to be around. So shout out to him. But also, if you were putting a hole through the envelope, you had to go see the ass, and so that was the on-site thing. Maybe that's not what you adopt, but I did see there were other companies that had, are you putting a hole through the wall? See this person. And there was a picture of the
Mike Mathis at the Warren Construction at the Friends School of Portland. Mike was extraordinary, just owned this thing. His first passive house, and everyone's first passive house. We couldn't have done it without this guy, and he was the ass.
Yes, he was. And he was for the Waldorf School too.
Yes, right.
So,
that's right.
And so it is good to establish this venerance for this primary air barrier on site. We used to, and I think we say this in the earlier podcast, that me and another builder, we started to say, you're not building a house, you're building a boat. If it leaks, we sink and we die. And it got to be,
oh my God.
Yes. It got to be So we were on site and we were just
That's a death threat.
Yeah, you're not
realize that, right?
Yeah. But it was so fun to be on site and just say, if it leaks, and then you hear them all say, we sink when we die. And I'm like, oh my God, this is the best job site ever. So that was fun. But my God, how proud are they when it was done? We hit those numbers, it was all high fives. Those are the early days.
Right.
And now it's not like, hey, you're a hero for doing it. It's like, you're expected to.
You are.
By code.
Right.
So
let me ask you about, we're just talking about penetrations.
Yeah.
There's another thing that we struggle with, and again, like we'll elaborate on another podcast, but wood stoves.
Oh, wood stoves. You're right. We could do a podcast on, all right, are we going to be granola fascists and say, no fire for you?
Right. That's a really good question. So let's save it because I got a lot to say on that matter.
I do too.
You do. Right.
But
I have more. Let's make it a 2-hour podcast.
But no, so like a wood stove is a very tricky thing. You pretty much, if you're doing a wood stove,
you need a hole through the ceiling.
Yeah. Well, you need a hole. You need a hole into the wood stove, because if you're doing wood stove, to do it right, the combustion air has to be separate than your indoor air environment.
So you need a sealed unit.
You need a sealed unit, and you can put that in air quotes, sealed unit, because we've done blower door tests. I have a great picture. Maybe I'll show it on whatever blog we have later or something like that. But it's of the infrared camera during a blower door test, and we're looking at the wood stove. And it's just like dark blue. It's cold. It's just leaking, and it's like where there's a flue joint. You can't tape that. It's there's no legal.
You can't get to it.
Yeah, I can't get to it. And
the tape's going to melt anyway. What are you going to do?
Exactly. So you have to use, you're going to
red caulk.
Yeah, red caulk all on the outside, smear it around, and or and even the units themselves, most of the little junctions, they're leaky. So it's a all the other aspects of having solid wood combustion inside your house aside, that's a tricky spot to air seal, and you definitely have to do at all the penetrations that are leading to your wood stove, and even then you're going to have to accept that you're going to have some leaks.
Right, so there's all these other layers that we're going to start talking about. So once you air seal your house really tightly, what happens to all the stuff? It stays in. I mean, yes, you're ventilating your house, right? Mm-hmm. That's what we were saying. You need an ERV or an HRV. But there's still a lot of toxic crap that's in all the stuff we put in houses. We do our best, and we do a lot better looking at these things. Yeah, certainly than we used to, and certainly more products are available that don't have as much nasty crap in them.
Yeah,
but you really got to pay attention to the things that go into your house.
That's right. With the tighter house, all these problems like radon and other chemicals that you're bringing in, they kind of magnify.
That's right. You're going to smell stuff for longer.
Right. But if you have one of these tight houses with your fancy ERV, and this is the first time you've experienced it, you're going to love it. It's going to be like fresh air. You're going to be like,
why am I so awake?
Yeah.
Seriously.
Why is this?
Seriously,
they're wonderful.
We put it in our office, and it just made all the difference.
You're just bragging now. Yeah, we got this junky stuff. Anyway, we're renting. We didn't. Yeah. We're not in control.
So are we.
Yeah. All right. Let's just rubbing it in. It's okay.
We feel great.
Phil.
Yes.
This isn't really a pet product. Maybe is it time to talk about like air barrier?
Oh yeah.
So if you're saying to yourself, you've probably been shouting for like 40 some odd minutes now. Hey, what about that air barrier stuff? What about that air barrier stuff? I have yet to use it, but I think I've reached the point where I'm not afraid of it.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people are, because I've talked to a lot of people about it.
Right. So basically, let's tell folks who don't know what it is what it is. Yeah. So basically, it's a material that gets misted into the air. So you have to press for this thing.
Misted.
It gets misted into the air.
Okay.
What did I say?
No, misted.
Yeah.
Aerosolized. No, go for it. I'm just being a jerk. Go ahead.
So it's this material that gets misted into the air.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, I think of it like a glue. You think of it more like a chewing gum or something like that.
Yeah, it's an acetate type of product.
So, and basically what it does is it goes everywhere and fills the holes and acts like glue and adheres to itself, and you depressurize the house and it just...
So it goes racing out the leaks, and what it is like it's the friction of the two of the molecules of itself that then becomes a solid. So like so they'll just build up and build up until they plug that hole.
Yeah, and I think it's like up to a half-inch hole or something like crazy huge.
Crazy huge. So this is a solution for like renovated like if you go into that old farmhouse and you're like, how in the world are we going to do this? There's a solution, and that's like air barrier. But it is not as simple as like you might think. It is at once simple, but also if you imagine like you're going to paint this thing, you're going to opposite paint. You want to protect.
That's good.
Yeah, you're going to be putting things over the things that you don't want to have this gum on. And to be clear, it is if you think of it a lot like that. When you get flyers or mailers sent to you or something like that, where there's like one paper thing attached to another paper thing, you pull it away, and there's like a little gummy thing.
I do.
Yeah, you know that thing?
I do.
It's like that. Yeah. So like imagine a residue of that in places where the air was moving fast enough to make that. So like you do have to protect things.
Right. You just go in, you tape everything off. You tape your windows, you tape anything you don't want to get this goo on, and they just basically press the button, fill the tank and get the hell out of there. Yeah. And you pay them for the amount of time that the thing goes off.
Right.
And you just dial it in, and you say you want 0.6 ACH 50. They will blow that thing and fill as many gaps as needed to get to that number. So it's a really good backup. It's not cheap at the moment, but it is kind of like this sort of dummy-proof backup that we have right now. And it's non-toxic, and the stuff just falls to the floor. And
I'm gonna.
Okay, go ahead.
No, I haven't done my own due diligence reknows on it to say that it's non-toxic, because
hasn't killed anybody yet.
Hasn't killed anybody yet. And who knows? Maybe while you're doing that, you can fumigate for bed bugs at the same time. Maybe
if you start with bed bugs in your new house, you're in trouble.
Well, no. I was saying this is a renovation project.
Okay.
Because if you're doing I think with a new house, easier to do it right with membranes and tapes. I think. At least that's the approach we're taking right now. Maybe there are other builders out there. I can imagine like you're halfway through a project and then someone says, "Oh, we want this to be a passive house," and this builder's like, "I don't even know what you're talking about."
Right. And
they're like, "We need to be air sealing." And there's sort of like some change in.
But it's a little bit. Doesn't this make you a little jealous? Not jealous isn't the right word, but also a little angry. Like
why?
Because those folks are lazy. Like we worked so hard to detail these things. Now you just come in and you just press a button. You're like, I've never done this before.
Yeah, but it's not that easy.
I can just spec air barrier.
Well, I think people have to know not to adopt that attitude, because I don't think specking air barrier is magic. Like press a button and you're done.
Well, but it's like what a lot of people are doing with spray foam, right?
Yeah.
They're just saying, I could be energy I'm a green builder. I use that spray foam stuff.
Right.
And suddenly, that did take care of a lot of air infiltration issues.
It does. It certainly knocks it down.
Yeah.
But
it caused other problems.
But maybe because this is a don't be in air hole air sealing conversation, we need to dispel the myth once again that spray foam is not really air sealing. It does do some air sealing, but it's not. To the substrate that it's on, it may not always cling as much as you think it does, and it might pull away over time.
That's right. If it's poorly applied, if they do it too thick or something, I've seen it like clump up and pull away from the structure.
I have too, and it doesn't take much, even as the structure moves and ages, and it pulls away. And now you have cracks where you didn't. So you may even do your blower door test. You walk away. The good thing about tapes is there's a very good chance 5 years later, it's the exact same ACH 50 as you had before. Mm-hmm. With spray foam, it's not going to be. It's going to be a little bit less.
Yeah, they would fight you. They would fight you on that. If you applied it properly, you probably could do that.
I'm sure they would.
But I'm not going to be a cheerleader for them. So
right, folks, I'm carrying a huge anti-spray foam bias into the room. So don't listen to me. Too much.
I'm with you. I'm with you. Yeah. Right? Like we try not to use it, but sometimes we do need it. It's good in certain applications.
Yep.
And it is better than it used to be. They're definitely good products.
And
very little global warming potential. So So we got to open our eyes up a little bit and relax about some of these things. I will say a 6-digit idea would be to turn that aero barrier into something that's a little more dummy proof. Like what if we didn't have to mask? What if it only went right to the holes?
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know what that is, but like,
I don't either.
We now spray on our air barrier from the inside or from the outside.
Yeah.
We can do a similar version on the inside if we need to.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just the booze talking.
Hey, I see you still have your cherry left.
I do. That means we're almost done with this episode.
There
This
we
is
are.
what's happening.
That's right.
Ready? Yeah.
Can we talk a little bit about the new code?
Oh yeah. By new, do you mean
2021?
4 years ago?
3 years ago.
Yeah.
It's finally getting around to getting adopted.
Yeah, let's do that. Go for it.
I just think it's important to know that I imagine not everybody who's listening to this has IECC 2021 adopted yet in your locale.
Yeah.
In Maine, we do.
Mhm.
Pretty sure Massachusetts does.
Yeah, it's coming, whether
Mhm.
whether you
But
got it or not.
But when Chris and I were talking before that you had to reach an ACH 50, that was equivalent to about a 0.28 CFM per square foot.
Well, it's equivalent depending on the volume.
Depending on the volume. I'm just trying to get a sort of a simple equation here.
Oh, sure.
But yeah, 3 is not hard to hit, especially with all our new tools.
Right.
Better than 7.
Oh, yeah.
Passive house is 0.6.
ACH 50.
Right,
Yeah.
ACH 50.
But that was the standard. Yeah.
Right. So with IECC 2021, what they've done now is they've made a modification for smaller homes and multi-units. And that is everything below 1,500 square feet. Now check me on this.
Yeah, 1,500.
Because that you can test. That's an exemption to test to a different standard. So you can basically reduce that to a 0.3 CFM per square foot.
Right.
And part of the way they do it that's different, and that's the exemption, is that they measure differently for these small structures. Because if you've got a house, but it's a big house or a small house, you still, in theory, have a very similar number of penetrations, right?
That's right.
Right.
Per square foot.
Front
of
doors,
surface. Yeah.
right, of surface. So you still have a front door, you still have vents that go through, you still have a bunch of windows per square foot. And what they've done is accommodated for, you only have to measure the surfaces now and take those into account of potential air leakage. And what that means, if you're under 1,500 square feet, is that you have to count the walls, the roof, and the exterior walls.
Yeah, the envelope.
Yes, but if it's not an exterior wall, if you're joining a different unit,
True.
you subtract that from your numbers.
Which makes a difference in multifamily.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and FIAS, Passive House has the same, like ACH 50. What you're saying, Bill, if I can summarize, ACH 50 has a large building bias. It's so much easier to get a lower changes per hour with a more massive volume of air. And so the smaller your house is, the less volume you have.
Relative to the skin.
Relative to the surface area. So it gives it a big building bias. And so if you switch to CFM 50, as in CFM per square foot of the surface area, instead of air changes per hour of the air volume, then, are you with me, nerds? So that you're testing the surface area. And so the surface area should be the same whether you're big or, penetrations per square foot of the surface area should be the same whether you're big or small. And so you're testing that.
And you're the FIAS nerd, right? So this is PHA was different than FIAS. Or
PHI, yeah.
PHI is different than FIAS. FIAS is the one that came up with the new standard.
That's right. I think they did back in the day. They were the ones who were kind of poking at the, it was a very German, these are the numbers, this is the standard, there's no reason to change. And USA is they're like, I think we should change because our climates are way different north to south. And I think we should change because we shouldn't be using spray foam, should we? Or we should change because we don't want to bias the big houses, that type of thing.
That's right.
Anyway.
Bottom line is know your codes, know that they are changing.
Yeah.
Like now.
Yeah. Same way, know your tapes, know your codes. You're going to be a cooler, better, greener, more sustainable architect.
Yeah, I will tell you for a long time, I was kind of a snob. I was like, we're so far ahead of what the codes are. I don't even have to know them.
I was the same way.
And now I realize, wait a second. they're really coming up to a different level.
Yeah, I had the same snob thing. It's like, what is code for the walls? I don't care. We're at least are 35, maybe 40. And now it's like, well, no, 35 that's about where the code is. Yeah, 35, 40 is the code.
Yeah,
so it's like
continuous insulation. And
I better pay attention. Yeah.
All right, I think we did pretty well.
We did.
And the only other thing I can think of that we talked about is viewer mail. If you've got any specific questions you want to ask us, or specific issues with your basement, or
oh God,
insulation or window detailing,
or if there's a topic
throw it out there.
Yeah, we actually do have an email address. It is thegreenarchitectslounge@gmail.com. That's right, Gmail, whatever. And you send something there, and Phil and I promise to eventually get around to it. So send us your comments and all that stuff.
Last sip, Chris?
Last sip. And hey, so this is a video thing. This is our new thing. If you've liked this podcast, remember this is the Green Architects Lounge with Chris and Phil. Like, subscribe, follow, do all those things. And if you didn't like us, this has been WTF with Mark Maron.
Cheers.
Cheers.
WTF, Chris.
My favorite. He's a legend.
He is awesome.